Guys, so by now I'm pretty sure you have probably heard of my singing monsters, or for the sake of this video MSM, it's a pretty fun game. Well, a couple months back they released quite a controversial island and I will be giving my opinions on it. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. So for everyone who doesn't know, what is the collosingum? Well, it's an island on the game where you teleport your monsters, level them up by upgrading them with coins, and fighting off to real people or just bots in a turn-based battle system. It's quite fun actually, and I personally really like it. Now of course this isn't the whole island, but what it mostly is. A lot of people dislike it a lot because of the fact that it is very experimental and nothing like the base game, which is what they want. Another magical or just any singing island. Now, it is quite expensive when you get to the supposed late game collosingum, as late as the quests go, as it is still quite a new island. Which can be quite annoying, with only getting a quad or boss monster to level 17 takes 107 million coins, therefore making many people not willing to spend this many coins on upgrading one monster. Another thing is that you have to actually sacrifice a monster from a natural island, plant, cold, air, water and earth islands, meaning this makes it harder for newer players who don't have all of the monsters to give up the ones like quad monsters, or what they are doing now, seasonals. But I will have to save that topic for a different video. If I get 3 likes on this video alone, I will make that. For the final reason why people do not like this island that much, is that the monster handlers prefer to focus on this island over other mainline islands, unlike this spin-off one, which is quite disappointing, even to me who loves the collosingum. This is why people think it should be a separate game so they can give undivided attention to the both of them. I'm not the biggest fan of this idea, but once again that's a different topic for another video. If you can think of any more reasons why you do not like this island, please tell me in the comments below. But for now let's start looking in depth for this review, with some tips and strategy guides along the way. Thoughts. So personally I think the collosingum is very fun indeed. I love logging in the morning, having my monsters be upgraded and using all my versus battle lives then after doing the daily quest. One of my favorite things is the limited time quests. Basically these are quests that change every week where you get 2 of them. The first one being easy, and the finale being a little tougher but not too hard. The first one will give a fairly useless but cool looking costume, and the final one will give you a helpful and cool looking costume and a trophy to put on any island in the game, if the island has decorations on it of course. Speaking of costumes, I love those too. You can put costumes in your monsters in the collosingum and they can have some neat boosts, with the ones you unlock from the limited time quests giving you a replacement attack to change one of your current attacks, therefore buffing your character. Some are better than others, it depends on the attack it replaces of course. But the ones that you get from levels just being a cool cosmetic. Also speaking of battle moves, they are super fun and creative. I love the little melodies they play and the silly wacky names of them. It's a really nice feature that really wasn't necessary. Some of them like the Flytrap Duo or Pond Sonata from Potbelly and Quibble respectively sound amazing, and they could probably be turned into their own tune. Oh, and the final transition. Speaking of battles, the battle system is super fun and fair. Well, to be honest, it helps you out mostly as you always get to attack first at the start of the battle. You have the options for 1-4 attacks depending on the level or monster itself, with duels or singles only having 3 attacks at max level. As I mentioned earlier, it's a turn-based battle system, meaning you do an attack then they do and it repeats. Which I really love. This concluded my opinions. Now for the strategies. So the main strategy is similar to Pokemon in a way, because of strengths and weaknesses, except the main difference is that every element has 1 weakness and 1 strength except for the seasonal elements until maybe they add more. It's quite simple to remember. Rock beats air, air beats plant, plant beats water, water beats cold and cold beats rock. Now the main thing to remember whilst battling apart from the elements is the statistics. Obviously the quad elements are the best by miles when it comes to this, and I'll show them on the screen here, but what if you can't just use them? Like a versus week or even just a limited time quests. So here will be my triple element tier list of best ones to use. Coming in at C tier we have T-Rox, Bogut, and Clamble because they have a fairly low attack stat and quite a low health as well. Now these definitely are viable to use in versus and quests alike, but definitely these next ones will be better to use. Coming in at B tier we have Kongle, Thumpies and Sponge. Definitely the main points of these three are to be tanks. They have a fairly low attack stat, a little lower than tier C for Kongle actually, but they have a very decent amount of health near the 4000 range at maximum actually. Very decent amount actually. These could be used for tanks if you need someone to take damage whilst doing some damage. Coming in at A tier we have Scups and Pompom. Now these don't have very good attack at all, but the thing about these is that they have amazing health stats. Over 4000 at maximum, which is crazy. That's better than a level 15 Endbred. Well, for health definitely not attack. And finally coming in at S tier we have Riedling and Pummel. These two are the demolition duo if you ever need to use two triple elements. They are exact opposites. Riedling has horrible attack stats, but he has a beastly 4500 health stat at maximum, whilst Pummel he doesn't have good health stats but an amazing 1500 attack stat at maximum. These may not be the best alone, but if you ever find yourself using two triple elements, these are the best to use. However, if you're only using one, then your best shot will be using one from tier A or maybe B. If you're ever in a versus match with 7 beds, I have the perfect strategy. So you can either use Endbred, very strong but little health, or Chorister, very weak but up to 9000 health at level 20, and Riff is a nice middle ground. Next, I'd recommend not using a triple but a dual and a single. The best duals are either Furcorn with best attack or Cybop with most health. I prefer attack over health most of the time, but that could vary for you. Finally, I'd recommend using Yule if you have him. He has the strength of any B tier to A tier triple element, but he takes up one space. But the best part is, no one is super effective to him at all, but he is super effective to others. It's crazy. Unfortunately, if you do not have Yule, I'd have to recommend Potbelly, as the least amount of attacks are air, and that is the attack he is weak against. Anyway, that's it for this video. This was a really big project taking me 3 days almost, so thank you so much for watching to the end. Remember, if I get 3 likes, I know it's a bit much to ask for, I will make the video about Yule, but until then, stay safe.